This is a story of 4 sunflowers, each one planted at the very same time, but their placement made a difference in the size that they grew. This one right here is closest to our forest and to the east side, and so it does not get the morning sun, it's shadowed. This one gets a little more, and this guy a little more. And finally, the one who's able to benefit from all the sun is over 13 feet high. Look at that guy. He's absolutely gorgeous. We've been enjoying coming out here and just watching the progress of all of these sunflowers. And we've learned a lot about them and what an amazing plant they are. Not just to bring in the pollinators, not just because they're such gorgeous flowers, but they also help with the soil and cleaning out impurities. And so next year, the plan is to have a field of these, or several rows. I don't think we have enough for a full field, but at least several rows because they're so magnificent. So this has really brought a lot of joy here in this hot heat that we're contending with right now.
So these beans, a little patch of beans, this is our second attempt at the beans. The first attempt, we think got frost damage, so Jane planted some more. And after a while, and in the heat of the summer came, these things weren't producing anything. And so Jane was ready to pull them again. And I fought back and said, no, give them a chance. And I said, then we seen M.I. Gardner, no. It was, I don't know what the young man's name is.
James from New Jersey.
Yeah. Yeah, anyway, him and his dog Tuck.
Mm-hmm.
Nice channel, nice guy. I'll put his name up. But anyway, so he reminded us that if you don't pick the beans, it'll give you one bean, and if you let that bean go to, dry up, that thing ain't gonna produce any more beans, so you gotta pick beans to get beans. And then when we looked at the package, it says, harvest often to increase productivity. So we came out here and we picked a bunch of little ones off of it. And we came back a couple days later and found this thing was starting to produce. So now we're starting to get beans off this thing. So here's some here. So now they're really starting to come in.
Yeah.
So it was a matter of, I guess, understanding. We're sitting there waiting for the beans to come in, and the beans are waiting for us to pick some. So,
well, they seemed always too little. I'd be like discouraged and didn't pick them.
Yeah, and then when in that batch, we made a nice batch, and we even had some leftovers from the last batch that we picked, and they were pretty good. So now we're getting beans off this thing. Now that we know that you actually got to pick them in order to get them. Now there's 2 beans in here. There's these type. Don't ask me what. I think Jane planted these literally from a bag of beans. I think they might have. We don't know what kind of beans they were, but so that's this one bush here, one. And so we're finding that okay, maybe some of them are a little small. We pick them anyway, like this, and it makes a nice tender little bean anyway.
Yeah.
So we're happy with that.
And this was what, Sunday?
Yeah, 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And this is
we're
Tuesday.
Already
Yep.
picking again.
Yep, we're already getting to pick some more. So picking, as the package says, definitely helps to produce more beans. And then the other thing we didn't do, we didn't fertilize them. All right, so we weren't giving them any food. And so they were kind of turning yellow. And once we got them to green up, we thought, okay, let's start producing. But they didn't start producing until we started picking. So let's see how this goes.
And it's like you kind of have to hunt for them.
Mm-hmm. And surely you're going to miss some, and you're going to find some big beans. And sometimes you're like, well, I'll just leave that one on and come back in 2 days. So we're trying to pick every 2 days now. And so basically the beans that are on here are a couple days old. Like this one here, I can pull him off. There's a little one next to it. I'll just leave him Come back in 2 days and it'll be a bigger bean. So I don't know if there's a better technique for searching for beans. I guess this is really about all you can do. Just kind of poke through here and see what you come up with. You probably could have gotten it bigger, but we're trying to encourage growth or more production, the man says. So what's this guy got on?
He was another one that came from the 15-bag bean soup.
Yes, she got a couple beans, planted them and says, let's see what they do.
And they grew, and we got a couple of pods off of it.
This is the one that we let the pod dry on.
Yeah, so it might be done.
No, we got a couple more off of it.
Okay.
But so it looks like this latter half of it here is starting to produce something.
Yeah, you see the flowers, so there's hope. You know? Well,
So,
I think we're gonna have enough for another meal.
maybe so. Turning our compost, Dick and Jane style.
With a little help from our friend.
A little help from my friend Digger. Did you wet that down?
I will. This is the second bin of our compost. We already had some stuff in here from when we were sifting forest soil. Get it nice and wet. All right. Moving from compost 1 bin to compost 2 bin. We have a mix of some of our corn stalks in here, marigolds, vines, old overripe cucumbers. Like the compost that we got. This is the finished product of one of our compost, our first compost, and sifting through it, we get some pretty good fluffy compost to put on our beds and in our containers. Gentle giant, gotta be so careful.
We don't have any chickens to turn our compost, so.
No, no chickens yet.
Gotta get them chickens. Gotta build the chicken coop, get everything ready first.
Yes, it's on our list of things to do.
Those cucumbers you keep throwing in, they're gonna break down?
Yeah. They will.
They just kind of roll out like little balls. Eventually their seeds will dry up.
We'll have some volunteers. This is our 3 bin process. So on the bin number 1 is all the way to the left, and that's where we usually start with huge amounts of leaves from the forest, other brown material, and then bring in our nitrogen, our green that we need in from either kitchen scraps or from the garden, which we have over here and at the front of the house, and put it into bin number 1. Bin number 2 is after bin number 1 has been sitting there for a little bit, and we need to keep it mixed. And so we'll throw it into bin number 2. And as you can see, it has shrunk, but we need more biomass. We let it sit for maybe a month without turning it, and I don't see any leaves in it anymore, so it's almost like it composted in place. So we're going to be adding leaves to this and increasing the mass so that the new nitrogen stuff that we put in there, like the corn stalks and some of the overripe cucumbers and marigolds and other things, will start to compost. And then once we get that in there, then we might give it a week and then put it into bin 1 again, mix it with maybe some straw, some black cow, since we don't have any chickens, and keep that going back and forth a little bit. And then in bin 3 is where we feel like it is finished processing for the most part, and we'll begin to sift the compost to use in our containers or in our raised beds, maybe to supplement a new row that we've just dug for the first time, and put some of that new compost on top for the seeds to be planted in. So once we get that sifted, we probably need to put it into a finished area to say this is, compost ready to go. So it's a start for us. Never been big composters before. It's a learning process, something that we're working through. But so far, anything that we've used has done wonderful, and the plants have done really good. So this is what we do. Now, Dick is in the background here. It looks like he is taking some of our trees that have fallen and sort of rearranging them. It breaks them down by taking digger's jaws and just kind of crunching and snapping on them a little bit. And then he also gets a chance to see what's fallen through some of our dead limbs and logs, and sometimes we'll find nice piles of dirt for us to use as our backyard soil.